Beloved rose hearts of the mother's love, Akasha is with you through your messenger. And as I welcome you to class, may I enjoy for a few moments just to say to you, nothing for eternity can ever stand between yourselves and the mother's presence of our universe. Nothing exists within you today as a core and ancient perception against the mother's presence. Your relationship with love itself has been healed. And now it is for you, as this year continues to unfold, to use that greater love that you will have much deeper access to, and use that love. Use that love to heal yourselves, heal your relationships. Use that love to heal your minds. Use that love to heal everything in your world. The response in Calgary was everything that I desired, and even greater. And therefore, as students make themselves available to the recordings of this event, I would encourage those students to listen to those recordings perhaps a little differently, because I know that some of the precious students around the world, they listen to the classes and different events on their Walkmans. Oh my goodness, where did that word come from? What is a Walkman? On the recordings. They listen to their recordings in their automobiles and so forth. This is such an important weekend, precious hearts, to acquire those recordings and to listen to them in your home. And if you can do that over 2-3 days, or even just a couple hours a day over 5-6 days, that would be most ideal. I qualified at the beginning of the weekend in Calgary that tears would flow, emotions would move, but that it would not be a painful weekend. Grace, the hand of grace, would be upon all of you. And I do feel that I fulfilled my promise. And yet, without the students' cooperation, without the students coming so receptive, their hearts so open, that would not have been possible. And I am so grateful. What a family you have all become. As the event began, and the chariots from the central sun arrived, having escorted the great central sun's magnet's presence, a very special activity of magnetism that had been formed, large enough to place over the roof and ceiling and upper atmosphere of the auditorium. The moment that magnet's presence was in place, magnetic currents projected through the feeling body, through the entire, not just the feeling body, through the entire auditorium. Nothing could escape those magnetic currents. Outside the round circle of that powerful magnetism were walls of flames. The first flame was the rose pink flames and its gentle healing. And then, beyond the rose pink flames, the violet flames. And then walls, thin walls, very thin, paper-thin walls of violet lightning fire. And then the great cosmic, purifying power flames. So that as the great central sun's magnet's presence, as that magnetism rooted out and pulled out those roots of core perception from everyone's feeling body and took it up into the upper atmosphere of that magnet's presence and pulled those roots and core perceptions and everything against the mother, everything against love into the flames. And that energy was dissipated. And this occurred all throughout the weekend. And for each of you who will be acquiring the recordings, please know ahead of time that as an act of Mother Vesta from your physical sun, her beings of the physical sun have created miniature golden sun's presence magnets. The idea is that as the larger student body tunes into the recordings, and this magnet presence has been placed above them, above their higher Christ mental body and their I am presence. And as they indeed request that all core perception against the mother be removed from them, that their relationship with love itself be healed, that magnet's presence that is going to be projected between every student and their I am presence is going to do the same thing. It's just going to pull up and out of the emotional body that core perception against the mother and all that requires healing against love, so that all the students will achieve this mighty accomplishment. As more and more of the core of the student body have this done by aligning with all that was given that weekend through the recordings, then a few other thousands of the student body who are not always able to tune in to the recordings, that the same will be done for them. When there is that which can be done for another, it will always be done. I thank you for your will. The gifts of Mother Mary, where everything you would have desired to expect. Of course, Mary continues to be in the central sun for a few more days, and therefore I carried her message for her. Those gifts are important. I have asked the Academy, and apparently a son is just informing me now that Mother Mary's message was already transcribed and has gone out as part of a newsletter that was sent out today. So all the students who receive the newsletters will receive the transcription of Mother Mary's message. forgive me, I'm just listening, and apparently a special thanks to Linda Higgins of Calgary, whose team extracts all the golden gems from the classes for the members area. Voluntarily provided this. That is so beautiful. Through our messenger number 2, Kuan Yin's gifts and her touch reached in to the students and offered them such a sweet, holy instant. Only the Holy Spirit can produce an holy instant until you are in the Christ consciousness. Only the Holy Spirit acts outside of time, or rather, time is not required. Therefore, any miracle of the Holy Spirit is a holy instant. And Kuan Yin offered that to the students. Because everyone has a history peppered throughout a series of lifetimes. A history of barrenness, a history of emptiness. And that Holy Spirit gift, that holy instant, where the Holy Spirit would birth that barrenness and emptiness right out of the students. She was everything I desired her to be. And Mighty Victory, my goodness, he had such a watchful eye over our messenger number 2. He was just waiting. He wasn't going to give him a chance to be anywhere other than away. The moment as the energy and as messenger number 2, as Excalibur was leading the students with the sacred fire calls and decrees, you could feel the energy was building and building and building, and many of the students realized this is not just Excalibur anymore. And then suddenly victory was there. And my goodness. You know, victory is very close to the mother's heart. I would remind you, precious hearts, that he is in service to the great goddess of Venus. This is his work in our solar system. What the goddess of Venus is seeking to achieve in transforming her planet into a star. This requires an avatar. And we only have him visiting your earth because Saint Germain was a little bit of a rascal, and in revealing to Victory that earth wasn't in very good shape, because you know you can't ask an avatar to serve. And so it's so wonderful, thrilling to see Mighty Victory come and go from Venus and participate in some of the events here and participate in fulfilling what he promised to the mighty Saint Germain. The music is a very important part. I wish to exemplify. I wish to move. As you know, precious hearts, your feeling body are like waves. And what you don't know is that in your feeling body there is too, I never considered when I had explained this, and now there's not a term. Help us, son. You know your emotional body moves around you. Well, towards the lower parts of the emotional body, there's an undercurrent, an undertow that moves. Your feeling body may be moving like this, and the undertow's moving a little slower. Undertow, undercurrent, does that make sense to you? And I knew it was very, very important to get that undertow moving more, to get that release of that core perception. And so I had to look through music and over the last few weeks, study music that has had an impact on the mass. And when I had shared with the messenger that one of the first pieces that, and I explained to him the first song that I desired was Ave Maria, because that honors every mother's presence. And then into the opening discourse, and I had said to the messenger that I desired Unchained Melody, is that? And when he had to provide a list for Alexandra to go seeking, and forgive me, Alexandra, I wasn't conscious of time as I was knocking on the messenger's door at 4 o'clock on Thursday before the event and giving him this list. And the messenger said to me, he said, Mother Akasha, do you realize it's Thursday? And I said to him, I didn't mean to be cheeky. I said, your point? The event's not until tomorrow. This helped me realize that these things all require time, of course. And then when of course, the messenger had to go looking for these pieces because I wanted certain artists. And so he found one artist, and I said, no, don't go back that far. And he said, Mother Akasha, who do you want? And I said to him, Elvis Presley. And he said, Elvis Presley? Mother Akasha, this is a tragedy. This is one of the last songs he ever sang. His heart's so broken, so broken. And I said, yes, that's the one. The broken heart. And so please, students, as you acquire the recordings, please stay with the music. I'm not suggesting you're going to like all the pieces, but I ask you to have faith that the music is going to, it's that undertow. It doesn't move as quickly as the rest of your feeling body, and it's got to start doing that. And I knew that music would get in and start pulling it along. Long has it been considered that the mighty words, and you are all coming to appreciate, that as you step into your higher Christ consciousness, there's treatments, there's inner treatments and keys that you apply to get into that consciousness and stay in it, so that while you're up in that higher consciousness, the miraculous perfection of that consciousness can flow down into your world and start treating some of the conditions. And this is something that's just really going to come on so strong this year. And what we're explaining to you is that when you give, as we do more and more of these treatments, the word is very important. Remembering the words, remembering words of truth, but not words that you speak out. Because this power of bringing down the higher consciousness, that's reaching in. This is an inner activity. And so, more and more, we'll identify those wordings that really need to be more an inner activity. And there's one wording that's always intended to be an inner activity. In fact, if you spoke it out without being in full demonstration of the Christ, well, people might put their nose up at you. And that one that's most important, and will even become more important, I and the Father are one. That's a very quiet, internal affirmation, mantra deep inside. I and the Father are one. And now, precious hearts, it is for each of you that I will encourage you, and do not wait for the treatments. I will encourage each of you that when you are in silence, that you begin, I and the Mother's presence are one. And just like you would with the Father, where the Father is, I am. Where God is, I am. Where I am, God is. Where I am, the Mother is. Where the Mother is, I am. For I and the Mother are one. My relationship with love is healed. And so we go forth, precious hearts. The style of this event so touched the students' lives. And it was not known. I don't jump to conclusions, not when it comes to your lives. I can make all the plans and desires I so choose. But when it comes to your lives, precious hearts, I must always wait and see if this is something that you desire to do, see if this is something you wish to do. And when it was asked on the weekend by a son if you'd like to return to Calgary next year for more of the same, of the Mother's presence. Of course, it won't be to heal your relationship with the Mother's presence, but it will be love and the Mother's presence. The son's right here because he's coming in next. He says, maybe the Vancouver students will remember this if they go back to 1968. So I'll try it. I'm not sure. I don't get it. He said, it'll be like a love-in. You get it? Something apparently the hippies used to do in Stanley Park. A be-in, it was called. I love you with all of my hearts. What a year. And this, we must have no reverse. And we must move now and prepare and always give some tension to keep putting pressure on that door to everything. And so in a few weeks, the son and I will appear in Toronto. And then in our commitment to the Ascended Masters Earth Council in Salt Lake City. And you met him, some of you met him last year. He is the Chief Secretary of the Ascended Master Intel, the Maharaji Osho. Will return with more updates and more ways that each of you can work with the Ascended Masters. And remember, precious hearts, in the full presence of love, you can go the distance in overcoming all fear. And what keeps your own Ascended Masters of your own solar system from providing you more information is their concern that it might bring fear up in you. And let's not limit the conversation, the masters who are coming. Of course, Master Germain and Mighty Victory will be there as well. But there is, and many of the new silent watchers, by new I mean silent watchers that you are not used to, that are coming in from the galaxy. They're coming in from further now. They want to say some things, but they cannot do so. No ascended master will be responsible for bringing up fear. They know they're not responsible, but if something they said, love is the great cancellation of fear, precious hearts. And then in Edmonton, the Radiant Rose Conclave. This will be your first event in which the goddesses are coming. And the goddesses are going to teach you how to now work with this love that is healed. It's not because of me that it needs to be said, it's the mother's love. It's because you must understand that you inherited this love. You didn't have to do anything to earn it. It was given to you when you were created. It is now restored. But every once in a while, it's good to hear it as the mother's love, so that you remind yourself, this isn't something that you created yourself. This is something that was given to you when you were born as an act of grace. You can't earn it. The fact that you are alive is your right to it. God bless you. A son wishes to be with you for a few moments. Until next time. Ashante, Shante, Shante, Alibra, Fioma. I am, I am, I am. Freedom's flame. Shante, Shante, Shante. Alibra, Fioma. Chi Taka. Chi Taka. Thank you. Ultimately, there is only one language of love in the Great Central Sun. However, my daughters, the Aloha, and it is their right to do so, they have chosen to create their own variation. So that when the avatars are around, they can speak without being understood. They think. And so that is the Aloha's language of love. Shante, Shante, Shante. Alibra Fioma. I am freedom's flame. Chi Taka. Chi as in Tai Chi. Chi Taka. Thank you.